hostess Cindy Schumacher. Today we'll be making buttermilk fried chicken sandwich, harvest moon chowder, sweet and zesty party mix, and apple brown Betty. We're going to start with the chicken because it needs to marinate for an hour. So it calls for 2 cups of buttermilk. And I'm using chicken thighs today for just an alternative other than chicken breasts. They cook up really quickly, and a lot of people prefer the dark meat to the white meat, so this kind of gives you an alternative to a chicken breast sandwich as a chicken thigh sandwich. So we need a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, and a half teaspoon of red pepper, cayenne pepper. Whisk here. Blend it together. What you're looking for when you're looking for it, seems like. So I'm going to put the chicken thighs in here. We'll get them marinating. We're going to put them in the refrigerator for an hour, and at least an hour. You can do this overnight, you can do it in the morning or whatever, but they say at least an hour you want to get them in the marinade. I'm going to kind of stir them up a little bit. Get them in the refrigerator. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
That is here. Valley now has higher broadband speeds of up to 1 gigabit. Get the bandwidth you need for all your devices at one time. Gaming with no lag time. Video stream your favorite movies instantly in HD quality. Video chat with friends and family without interruption. Download your favorite music and photos in seconds. All on our 100% fiber optics network. Valley offers managed Wi-Fi and backup services too, bringing together all the services you need. Valley Telecommunications Cooperative.
Okay, we're going to work on the apple brown Betty. I'm going to cut a lemon in half. I have a little press, and I have peeled, cored, and sliced about 6 apples. So, you know, depending on the size that they are, mine were apples actually from a tree. Oops, I see a seed right here. I don't want that to go in. So I had to do a few more than that, but I'm gonna squeeze the lemon on. Toss that a little bit. In a large bowl, I'm going to combine a half cup of granulated sugar and a half cup of brown sugar packed, a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, I guess I can just use this. We'll kind of combine that. Then we need 3/4 cup of flour, and then I'm going to work in a half cup of butter, and it's cold so that you can cut it in a few chunks before I start working with it. keep working with it. Yeah, as you know, it just takes a while. We'll get there. And you want to just keep on going until it feels like it's evenly dispersed throughout the flour and sugar. We've got a few chunks here. This, the reason I chose a Brown Betty is my husband doesn't like the oatmeal in an apple crisp. This is basically an apple crisp without the oatmeal in the topping. And another nice thing about it is it saves you the step of having to make a crust. So if you're in a hurry and you have, let's say you even have your apples peeled and cored and frozen in the freezer, it's quick and easy. You just toss your apples in and make your crumble topping and toss it in the oven at 350, and then you bake it for, you cover with foil, and then you bake it for about 40 minutes, remove the foil, and then bake it for another 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever you feel like, till you get a little bit of a crispier top on it. I'm gonna let that go there. Okay, so we have a 9x9 pan. You don't need to grease it. Toss the apples in. Seems like a lot of topping, but it kind of works its way in, and you know, in and around the apples. A couple here on the edge that kind of want to pop out. Okay, I'm gonna take the top of the oven and we'll clean up. We'll be right back.
Valley is now offering updated digital TV packages and prices. Call Valley today at 437-2615.
We're gonna work on the party mix. The reason I chose something like this, I just thought that this menu would be something kind of fun. When the weather turns cold and you feel like having people in, it's a nice casual dinner. The guys are watching the game. This is something that you can set out for them and everybody can munch on. I'm not going to use quite the whole container. I'm going to kind of do a double duty here. And I'm actually going to make a double batch of the sauce, so we'll get into that. But I try to do a variety of colors and textures. These are the Ghirardelli's little garlic rye crisps, that they give you the, you know, a darker color in the mix. These are mini Triscuits. I found these at Ken's in Aberdeen. Sometimes during the holidays your store will have them, and if you don't get someplace that has them, just ask them at the grocery store to bring them in for you. They quite often do that for me in Eureka. They'll bring in something that I'm looking for, and when I know I'm not going to get somewhere else in order to find them. These are the Club Minis. They're like the little club crackers, only they're small and they're fun because they're bite size. So I like to use these, and they are absorbent. They'll absorb the flavoring. They look like this. And sometimes they have them in the store in season. There again, I found these at Ken's in Aberdeen. But if you want them and add them to your mix, ask your grocer if they'll bring them in for you. Okay, then I try to use something with cheese. I'm using Cheez-Its today. You can use Cheetos or some other kind of a cheese flavor thing, but here again, it gives you a little color, so it gives you some variety. That's it. I'm going to kind of mix this together. In the meantime, I have for a single batch, if you're just going to do a little bit, a single batch is a half cup of butter, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar packed, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire, and then a half teaspoon of garlic powder and onion powder, and then seasoned salt to taste. Now a lot of these crackers already have salt on them, except for like the cereal. The Chex Mix that I'm using doesn't. But so you want to be careful about adding salt so that you get the right taste, so it doesn't get too salty. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Okay, so to this, I'll start with brown sugar. So I'm going to double the brown sugar, and that's going to be 6 tablespoons of packed brown sugar. You can also put nuts in there, if you like nuts in your party mix. Sometimes I don't, because a lot of times I'll just put a bowl of nuts out, but that's something you certainly can add to it too. Fritos, anything like that you like. Okay, so I'm going to add in, for a single batch, it's 2 tablespoons. I'm going to use 4 because I'm doubling my batch. Okay, and then a half teaspoon of garlic powder and onion powder. There again, I'm doubling, so I'm going to use a full teaspoon. Now remember, if you want a copy of any of these recipes, and you don't have internet, give the girls at Valley a call. They'll be happy to help you. If you do have internet, you go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net. Click on the Cut Your Cookin' Cow. You'll find all the recipes there. Okay. I'm going to go with about a teaspoon of Lowry's seasoned salt. Like I said, it's, because a lot of your crackers already have a little salt on them, so you usually don't have to add too much. I sometimes will taste it just kind of to make sure I've got the right mixture. But this is really good. Most people's party mix is not sweet. This is sweet and salty, zesty, all rolled into one. My husband actually asked me not to make it because he can't stop eating it. So if that gives you any indication of how good it is, it's just something different than the normal party mix. I'm going to add just a little bit more of the salt. maybe just about an 1/8 teaspoon. Once the sugar dissolves, then you want to toss it over your mixture and then bake it in a low oven. I better get that going. 300 or 325, but you wanna bake it for about a half an hour. Stir it once or twice in between, like every 10 minutes. I just kind of give it just a real quick once over just to make sure that everything is coated. It's just about coming to a boil, and that's what I want. I just want it to just come to a boil so that the sugar dissolves. Just keep stirring because it just takes a while to coat everything. I didn't dump the entire thing on there. I think I'm going to have enough to do that. This is good. I'm going to spread it on a cookie sheet. Okay, we're going to see if we can have enough to finish up what I have here. And I think we do. For the holidays, if you want to, being that we're in November, if you want to throw something in there like candy corn, or you know, there's M&Ms on the market that have like a pumpkin spice in them or something like that. So if you want to do something like that, you know, add something fun like that, you can do that too. Makes it real cute. But you would not want to do that until it's already baked. So obviously, some of those Triscuits aren't separated. Okay. All right. Once we have that pretty well, I might have to get out a third cookie sheet. Yep. I don't want to get it too thick because then it gets hard to stir. Okay, I'm going to get these in the oven. Take a quick break. We'll be right back. I'm gonna make the dill dressing for the sandwiches. So I have plain yogurt, and I need a 1.5 cup. Okay, to that I'm going to add, it calls for 3 tablespoons of fresh dill, and obviously this time of the year, we're not going to be able to come up with that, so I'm using dill weed. Whoops, a little bit more. Teaspoon of garlic powder. Two tablespoons of lemon juice. See if I can dig those seeds out again. And a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. I'm using it just out of the can. Whisk that together, and then we want to chill it. Transfer to a smaller container. And this will be the condiment for our sandwich. Okay. Get this in the refrigerator. I'm going to clean up. We'll be right back.
At Valley Telecommunications, we pride ourselves in providing the home team advantage. But what does that mean? It means going above and beyond to take care of our customers' needs by providing exceptional customer service, because helping you helps all of us. As a cooperative, each time you subscribe to our services, you are investing in our community, which allows all of us to build and benefit from the newest technologies. Make the switch today to Valley Telecommunications and experience the home team advantage.
Okay, I'm going to start now on the Harvest Moon Chowder. We'll start with a large onion that I have diced. A cup of broccoli flowerets. A cup of celery that I've diced. And a cup of carrots that I have peeled and thinly sliced. And to that, I'm going to add 2 cups of chicken broth. You can use chicken broth or chicken stock. I'm using Swanson's chicken broth. I'm going to get this going, and we want it to simmer for about 15 minutes, and just until the vegetables are tender. We don't want them too overly cooked because they'll get mushy, because this isn't the end of our cooking time. So anyway, we'll get this going. In the meantime, it's been 40 minutes since I put the apple brown Betty in the oven, so I'm gonna run and pull the foil off of that, and then we're gonna let it bake for about another 10 or 15 minutes, so I'll be right back.
That is here. Valley now has higher broadband speeds of up to 1 gigabit. Get the bandwidth you need for all your devices at one time. Gaming with no lag time. Video stream your favorite movies instantly in HD quality. Video chat with friends and family without interruption. Download your favorite music and photos in seconds. All on our 100% fiber optics network. Valley offers managed Wi-Fi and backup services too, bringing together all the services you need. Valley Telecommunications Cooperative.
We're gonna finish up on the soup, so I need a little kettle here. To this I'm going to add a 4th cup of butter. Get that going. Okay, so everything is just tender, so I'm going to reduce my heat a little bit so it doesn't boil all the chicken broth away. You actually have a little bit of flexibility with this Harvest Moon chowder. I'm using exactly the ingredients that the recipe calls for, but you could, if you wanted to, you can throw in a handful of corn or I'm careful not to add peas to a lot of things because they really sweeten it, and we've already got the sweetness of the carrots, but you could, and you know, give it a little more texture if you want to. But I guess if I were going to add one more thing, I would add maybe a handful of corn just for the yellow. But it is a cream soup, so it's thicker, and the colors don't show like a clear soup does. Okay, my butter's just about melted here. When I was putting the ingredients on, I forgot to add the potatoes. So you want a cup of peeled and cubed potatoes. I've done them for, you know, fairly small, just a little bit bigger than a dice. Sometimes when I'm throwing in so many things, I tend to lose track of where I'm at. Okay. To the 4th cup of butter, I'm going to add a 4th cup of flour, which would be 4 tablespoons. Obviously, you know that, but okay, you want to cook and stir that till it gets bubbly, so you get rid of the floury taste. I'm going to add a half teaspoon of black pepper. And a teaspoon of salt. Okay, it's just starting to bubble. So to that I'm going to add a can of evaporated milk. Stir that constantly until it gets just to the point of being a little bubbly, nice and thick and smooth. gonna take a quick break. We'll stir the party mix a little here. And I'm gonna rotate my pans. As soon as this gets thick, then we're going to add it to the vegetables. Now, this soup is going to be a little thick. If you want it a little thicker, you can, it has some options. It calls for 1 to 2 cups of milk to be added to it. I usually do 1 cup. If you want to go a little further and to be a little bit thinner, you can add 2 cups of milk to it once we get everything put together. The other thing is if you want to add the 2 cups of milk and you want to thicken it a little bit, you can throw in some mashed potatoes or something like that. Okay, this is nice and thick, so I'm going to add it to the vegetables. Actually, before I'm going to dump my 1 cup of milk in there too, just to kind of blend it in real well. Now I'm going to add a cup of grated cheddar cheese. I'm using mild. You can use medium or sharp if you prefer. But my husband doesn't like the really sharp cheddar, so I usually just keep the mild on hand. And the cheese melts almost instantly. So the soup is actually ready. So we're going to start working on the sandwich. I'm going to take a quick break and clean up. We'll be right back. Okay, we've got the party mix done. I've cut open some brown paper bags and then just let them cool on there. Another thing that I do sometimes is I actually just toss the whole thing in a brown paper bag and then I just tumble it 3 or 4 times. Let it cool in there for 10 minutes, then I tumble it again. Just keep spinning it so that if there is anything that's not coated, it kind of helps to coat the rest of them. We're going to have plenty of party mix for a party. Or just for sitting around in front of the TV and having a little something to snack on. Okay. Now remember, if you want a copy of this recipe or any of the things that we're making on today's show, if you don't have internet, you can give the girls at Valley a call. They'll be happy to get you a copy. If you do have internet, you go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net. Click on the Country Cookin' Cow. You'll find all the recipes there. Okay, we're gonna make the seasoned flour for the chicken. So I'm gonna start with 2 cups of flour. To that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of salt. 2 teaspoons of black pepper. You can use, you know, if you've got a pepper grinder, use fresh pepper. This is actually called restaurant pepper. It's a little coarser ground, so it's about the same as if you were using a pepper grinder that makes it just a little bit coarser but not quite chunky. So that's what I'm using there. 1.5 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. A tablespoon of garlic powder. Whisk that together. Okay, I've got my oil heating in the pan. It's just about ready to go. So we'll get the chicken coated here. I don't know if I mentioned before, but I had to bone my chicken thighs, and they're not quite as easy to do as if you're boning a chicken breast. The skin comes off really easily, but you almost have to flip it over to the underside and then cut along the bone on both sides, and then you want to make sure that there's no cartilage or anything in there still, because you don't want anybody to bite into that and choke or whatever. So you just have to take your time. And these, they're rather thin by the time you get the bone out and everything, and so they'll cook up really quickly once we get them in the oil. I actually bought a pack of 12, so I'm going to go ahead and make all those. Never hurts to have a few extras in case somebody wants an extra sandwich. It. Okay. Want your oil at 350? I'm right at about 340, so we've got about 10 degrees. I'm just going to clean this up we'll be right back. Okay, I've been cooking up the chicken just to get it going. I'm going to show you how it's done. So I have a real heavy kettle that you want to put your oil in there, and you heat it until 350. But don't fill your kettle more than half full with oil or it's going to splatter. Anyway, so I'm just dropping in about 2 at a time. Takes about 7 minutes for them to cook. And then I'm also, I've buttered the buns and I'm toasting those. So keeping an eye on those so they don't burn. Because as you know, a toasted bun always just gives that added special flavor. So as soon as we get done frying the rest of these, we'll be ready to eat. We'll be right back.
At Valley Telecommunications, we pride ourselves in providing the home team advantage. But what does that mean? It means going above and beyond to take care of our customers' needs by providing exceptional customer service, because helping you helps all of us. As a cooperative, each time you subscribe to our services, you are investing in our community, which allows all of us to build and benefit from the newest technologies. Make the switch today to Valley Telecommunications and experience the home team advantage.
Okay, we're going to finish up with just a couple of things here. I'm going to just add, this is how the party mix looks. Just for fun, I'm going to just add a little bit of candy corn to it, just to kind of make it look a little more fallish. So it looks like that. And you don't have to do it. You can if you want to, but I just thought it makes it just a little more November-y. But anyway, so we're ready to assemble. I've got the chowder in here. Now I did while it was sitting, because it thickened up a little bit while I've been cooking the chicken, so I did add about another cup of milk. So you can just use your own judgment on that. If you want to, you can garnish it with a few croutons. It's always kind of fun to do something a little bit crispy on top of there. I'm going to go ahead and dish the brown Betty, and I'm going to put it in a bowl, and we're going to top it with a little vanilla ice cream. And if you make it in advance, just heat it up again before you serve it. Okay, we'll assemble the sandwiches, and I'll just rinse my fingers here. I toasted the buns, by the way, and I forgot to take the griddle off, so the buns have a nice toasty, buttery flavor to them. So we're going to put the sauce on the top. We'll add a piece of lettuce, slice of tomato, and try to find one that's about the right size. You may want to, if it feels like it's too much for you, you can go ahead and slice it thin, but I'm going to do it just like that. So toss a little bit of the party mix on the side, and we're all set. We've got our buttermilk fried chicken sandwich, our harvest moon chowder, our sweet and zesty party mix, and our apple brown Betty. Thanks for joining us today on this edition of Country Cookin'. We hope to see you next time.